After completing interviews with congressional and public users in November and December, the Congress.gov team is preparing for a new research phase this spring. The insights from last year's sessions are guiding the next steps in modernizing the user experience. I'll explore the takeaways and what's ahead with Chief of the Design Division in the OCIO at the Library of Congress, Kristin Davis. Kristin, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk with you today.
Well, I want you to bring us up to speed because you launched the call for volunteers, users of your system back in September of 2025. What was the goal when you rolled out this program?
The Congress.gov team wanted to learn, how do congressional and public users leverage Congress.gov for their work? What works well with Congress.gov? What's not working well with Congress.gov? And how do congressional and public users leverage other sites or tools for their work?
As you think about a user-centered design, how does that really shape how your team approaches the utility of the site?
User-centered design really shapes everything that the Library of Congress does in terms of creating digital solutions. It's really critical in the software and system development to put the users at the center of the process. It allows us to build solutions that meet users' needs and expectation and reduces the need to do rework if we don't hit the mark when we're creating these digital solutions.
When you think of your user community, who's in it? Who are the users of Congress.gov?
Everyone. So Congress.gov really is a resource that is available for everyone. So it's for the American public. It's also designed for congressional staff as well. So I consider our audience to be anyone and everyone.
Well, this has got to be an exciting project then. We were originally scheduled to speak about it back in October, right when the shutdown hit. How did the shutdown disrupt your plans for the initial round of interviews?
Obviously, we couldn't conduct these interviews during the shutdown, but once we were back to work, one of the top priorities of the team was to be able to reschedule all of the interviews and to complete them within 2 to 3 weeks. And I'm delighted to say that we were able to hit that goal. We did not need to re-recruit anyone. We were able to get all of those sessions rescheduled and completed in that quick turnaround timeframe.
My read there would be that these were people who really wanted to give you feedback then.
Yes, absolutely. All of the folks that we talked to were really engaged and excited to be able to talk about Congress.gov with us.
And so you got all of those interviews in November and December. What were the biggest themes or takeaways that emerged from those sessions?
The biggest theme was really how valuable Congress.gov is for people. The site was definitely considered a valued and trusted resource that people were able to leverage.
Did they express what they used it the most for?
It was really to be able to stay informed about current legislation as well as being able to go back and look at historic information too.
These kinds of interviews typically provide the conducting organization information about what's working well and what's maybe not working so well. Was there anything in the feedback that surprised you or that was particularly useful?
The one thing that definitely surprised me with talking to our public participants was people didn't realize that you could create an account and that the benefits of creating an account on Congress.gov. So when you have an account, you're able to save searches and then also set up alerts so that you're informed when there are changes with whatever thing you might have signed up for an alert to. So that was really something that I was surprised by, that this great feature was missed. And there were a few participants who pointed out during the interview session that they noticed it for the very first time while we were talking.
Did you then take action to make that a more visible portion of the site?
That's absolutely on our roadmap to iterate on, is to make sure that that feature is being highlighted in a way that it can be noticed by more people and we can get people utilizing that helpful feature more.
I'm speaking with Kristin Davis. She's the Chief of the Design Division at the OCIO of the Library of Congress. So, Kristin, as you went through the sessions with your users in that first round, have you seen changes in user expectation among the congressional staff that you work with regularly or other folks who might make that visit to the site?
I would say that user experience, it's always changing. So commonly people are constantly interacting with digital products. And typically it's not the digital product that you're creating or that you're responsible for. It's everything that's out there. So people really expect sites to work like the other sites that they're on more frequently. So really the idea of making sure that Congress.gov is presenting information that is easy and simple to get to and to understand.
Do you find that different segments of your user population have different needs? I mean, staff might have one need, the general public another, high schoolers researching a paper or something else, reporters a different way of approaching the data.
Absolutely. And because the site is geared towards anyone, it's a balancing act to figure out how do we present this information to such a wide variety of users. And I would say one of the groups that really has a much different use case are the congressional staff. So they're much more familiar with Congress.gov because they're on the site either daily or weekly, and they're very familiar with it. So we need to make sure that, as we evolve the site to be able to support their needs, we need to keep in mind that making significant changes will impact their workflow and potentially change the current design. So there's that balance with enhancing the site, but also not doing these drastic, wide sweeping changes, which might then negatively impact some of those users who are very familiar with Congress.gov.
Sort of designing for your power user, right?
Right.
One of the things that the December update on this project mentioned is that you're going to have another round of research coming up early in the spring. What will that next phase focus on?
So the next phase of user research is going to be conducting usability testing. And so in usability testing, we'll ask participants to complete a set of predefined activities in order to measure how effectively people can complete common activities using Congress.gov.
Are you looking for different groups of participants this time around, different demographics, or maybe just the occasional user again?
So we're absolutely looking for folks who didn't participate in the interview phase, so new people, so that we're getting a great representative sample of users. And we're looking for a mix of demographic information as well as familiarity with Congress.gov. So both, very familiar as well as folks who might have just gone to the site once a long time ago.
If we've got a listener out there who thinks, I've got some things I want to make sure they know about, how can we get them involved?
So they can send an email to user-resource@info@loc.gov. And you would be sending your name, your email address, and whether or not you are a government employee.
So we'll make sure that they've got that address. How do these ongoing research cycles fit into the longer-term evolution strategy of Congress.gov?
Well, at the Library of Congress, we have a culture for conducting user research on a regular basis. And this really helps us to continue to provide useful and usable digital products that meet the needs and expectations of our users.
And so when you think about this project, say a year from now, what changes do you think that people will notice, or what changes do you want to make sure are out there so that you can say we've made a difference and it's more meaningful now?
Well, I'm hoping that these interviews give us the data that we need to ensure that we're presenting information to users in the most effective way, and that we're leveraging knowledge in order to make those evidence-based decisions to make enhancements and changes. So really hoping that we're designing page layouts that are allowing people to quickly and easily find the information that they need, as well as making enhancements to the search features so that it's also supporting users who are searching for information that they're able to quickly and easily find results that they're looking for.
I've been speaking with Kristin Davis. She's chief of the design division at the OCIO at the Library of Congress. Kristin, thanks so much for sharing this project with us. Hopefully you'll get a whole lot more users.
Well, thanks so much, Terry, for having me. This was great talking to you about user research and Congress.gov.
We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Listen to the Federal Drive on your schedule. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.